Is your boat properly registered? The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency reminds you that all boats equipped with motors or sails need to be registered and your color-coded decal properly displayed. For more information, log on to our website. On this episode of Tennessee Outdoor Journal, Barry Cross guides us through the highs and the lows of his daughter Rachel's journey to becoming an accomplished hunter. Next, we'll travel to the Stones River Hunter Education Center in Nashville, where there's no mistaking the crucial role that range safety officers play. Then, it's time for a bat blitz. We'll head down to Prentice Cooper Wildlife Management Area, set up a net, and see what we can catch. Then we'll head out to a boating safety class where attendees learn everything they need to know to have a fun, safe day on the water.
We passed! We passed!
And finally, the Tennessee National Guard, Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, and the Tennessee State Parks all came together at Laurel Hill WMA to do a search and rescue training maneuver. Watch as they learn things from each other that they can use in the real world. Tennessee Outdoor Journal is opening the cover and inviting you in for a behind-the-scenes look at the work being done every day by your Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Let's turn the page. What kind of legacy will we leave when our days upon this earth are gone? Tell me who will carry on this work that we've begun, care enough to be the keeper of the dream. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Tennessee Outdoor Journal. Our first story today is Rewards of the Hunt.
I've been hunting ever since I can remember. I started when I was about 5, and I'd go with my dad, and I was never the hunter. I just went and enjoyed it.
Rachel is my oldest daughter. She's always been there. You know, if Daddy's going hunting, she was going to go and sit in the stand or sit on the ground, but she's always been a part of my hunting through the years.
And then one day, my dad brought home a bow, and ever since then, I've loved bow hunting.
I had her shooting targets in the backyard. She took a liking to it, and before I knew it, she looks at me and says, "I'm gonna bow hunt." So my then 17-year-old child who had never hunted herself, because of a youth bow, decided this is the year I'm gonna hunt. The first season had already started, so I didn't have time to get her into a hunter safety course. And we bought her the apprentice license so that I would take her hunting and she would be able to hunt.
The very first season, I really understood what bow hunting was all about. I had not one, but 2 chances of getting a deer, and the second time I made it count. And that's when I really understood the excitement of bow hunting.
She actually had some success. Her first two years, she was able to harvest does. And her 3rd year, she didn't have any luck, but she saw a lot of deer.
My range is about 25 yards at the most. Yeah.
Imagine that arrow, the line in which it's going to go.
This year, my dad made me take the hunter safety class, which was awful, but I took it and I enjoyed it.
And I told her she couldn't use that apprentice license anymore, so she had to take hunter safety or I wasn't going to let her hunt. And she went through the class. She did a great job, passed with flying colors. Even though she doesn't gun hunt, she's learned all the rules, she's learned all the safety. It's a great class for any young hunter to take, and really anyone to take.
And then after that, I was very excited about hunting this season. I'd put out trail cameras, I had checked them.
So she's got 3 good deer on the place that she knows about. 2 of them she named.
One had a kind of strange rack and the other one walked with a limp. So we named one Crab Claw and the other Cripple.
The first hunt that we went on, she was in the stand early. We had been seeing something probably in the first hour. We were seeing something up on the ridge and just couldn't make it out. And eventually we see a deer, and when he raised his head, I said, "Baby girl, that's crab claw." Rachel did everything perfectly. She stood up when she had opportunity to stand up. She was ready.
It couldn't have been any better. My heart was pounding out of my chest. I was so excited. It moved in quick. He was coming at me, and he was about 14 yards away. Broadside and everything, and I just moved, and he saw me. I was ready, but I was too ready.
Unfortunately, she didn't wait long enough. He didn't quite get past us before she tried to move, and he busted her.
It was a great deer. I'd been tracking it, and I wanted it. I thought my season was over. I even cried a little bit.
I can understand the pain that she felt, and it's happened to everybody who's bow hunted. The excitement of getting them that close, but not being able to seal the deal. And you know, a lot of people might have given up, but the next weekend she was like, "We're going hunting."
My number one goal this season was to harvest one of the deer that we had seen on the cameras.
We got right back out there. We hunted a different stand. Didn't know what we would see up on that ridge, but as luck would have it, about 7:30 that morning, there was movement, and it was crab claw again.
This time, I didn't do anything wrong. I waited, and I got him. Hunting is just fun. The excitement, the thrill, everything about it. I'm still doing the same thing I was when I was 5 years old, but this time, I'm carrying a bow. I'm the hunter instead of just the tag-along.
You know, as a dad who has kids that hunt, it doesn't matter what age they are, just being able to watch them grow and become better hunters is exciting. I mean, you say you got a hunting buddy. Well, I've got multiple hunting buddies, and they're all girls, but they enjoy it as much as I do. And to watch this one, who had never hunted, become the hunter that she is today, it's been a lot of fun. I would encourage any parent who has a child who's interested in the outdoors, or interested in hunting, to get out there with them, share it with them, and enjoy watching them grow.
Next up, let's learn about range safety officers.
You have 1 minute remaining in this relay.
So today we're at the Stones River Hunter Education Center. So we have one 25-yard pistol range and then two 100-yard rifle ranges.
Okay, ceasefire.
But on a good day in the fall, especially before deer season, you know, it's nothing to have a couple hundred guys come in one day.
You got your driver's license?
Yes, sir.
One of the first things that you notice when you start working at this facility is how critical and crucial the range safety officers are and the part they play in how this operation works.
When this place was built, it was with the understanding that we would have volunteer RSOs here, knowing that it was only staffed with 2 full-time TWRA employees.
There are times I'll open the window, 20 minutes before we actually open the range just to start processing the volume of people that we have come through here.
Most of them think that the people that run the gun range right here are paid employees, and they're not. They're all volunteers.
Well, you could double my salary and it still wouldn't cost you nothing.
It's the RSO, Range Safety Officer. They run the inspection station, and they run every range out there.
Main duty of any RSO is safety first. So we go through several trainings to make sure that safety is our first thing. The second thing we do is to help somebody if they can't get their scope sighted. And if there's a problem with a gun, we can solve a multitude of problems. If they ask us, we take care of whatever they need.
The biggest thing to me is just working with the people and helping out, making sure that we have people that's going to watch everything and make sure we're all safe.
We basically have to assume everybody is a beginner because we can't make any assumptions that somebody knows what they're doing. The primary job of RSO is safety, and it starts with where we're standing right here, and that's the inspection station.
I just like being around guns. This place right in here, when you're inspecting them, you see all kinds of guns, from Saturday night specials to $3,000 or $4,000 weapons. Mainly, I am looking to make sure that there is nothing lodged in the barrel. That's the main thing, but before I do that, I make sure it's unloaded. We expect them to be unloaded, and then a case when they come in. It's an expensive job right here, because it makes you want to buy something all the time.
Shoes, make sure you have your eye and ear protection on.
The range operates where, basically when we call the hot range, say yes, the range is hot, go ahead and shoot. Then we operate it for 10 or 15 minutes, depending on which range we're on. And then we give them a couple minute warning saying, okay, it's time to clean up your brass. In between time, you're continuously looking at people, watching what they're doing, making sure that they're doing things safe.
We have people that come out here that shooting is their sport. Some people play golf, some people swim, some people shoot. Not everyone that comes out here and shoots is a sportsman. They don't all fish or hunt, but they're avid shooters. And so this is what they come, this is their place to come and enjoy their recreational time.
The range safety officers do a really good job of keeping the line safe. We have very capable RSOs right now, but we can always use more.
At one point in time, we'd worked our way up to 35 range safety officers. Now we're down to 13.
Without the RSOs, the volunteers, the range couldn't run.
You're asking about the perks of a range safety officer. There's not many.
Tim cooks us lunch, so that's a big plus.
The one that most RSOs like is the fact that they have the range here to use whenever it's not open, so they can shoot their own guns.
Yeah, we have people from all walks of life as range safety officers. We ask for 10 to 12 hours a month, and divide that time up. We try to work a 4-hour shift.
We are always looking for RSOs, and if they're not really sure about it, they should stop by and talk to us about it. It may be something that they'll really be interested in.
What's the requirement to be an RSO? That you are willing to come out and volunteer your time, and you're just good with people, and we'll give you the training. Whatever fits your schedule, if you've got the time, we've got a place for you.
Our next story takes us on a field trip for a bat blitz.
This is the beginning of Bat Blitz, Southeastern Bat Diversity Network Bat Blitz. And this is how you get to some of these remote locations. It takes a 4-wheel drive, and these guys know what they're doing, so we're just going to follow along.
Maybe untangle that a little bit.
Got it.
Now the key is to find a good funnel. We are trying to catch some bats in its simplest form.
So right now I'm sitting in the middle of Prentice Cooper Wildlife Management Area. Rattlesnake? No kidding? I don't see a net.
So what we're trying to do is set up nets and key points. With any wildlife, they use funnels, flyways, waterways, things like that. So we want to block those off. Just like if you're deer hunting, you want to get on those funnels, travel corridors. So here we've got a net set up over the creek, a couple different setups, and then we got one on one of these trails. Basically, we're at a crossroads tonight, so hopefully if anything's traveling these corridors, maybe they'll end up in our net.
The Bat Blitz does float around to different states each year. It depends on the entity that desires to host it. It concentrates manpower, so you have many different biologists from all over the country, bat biologists from all over the country. So this one here in Suwannee this year, we have about 85 bat biologists from different parts of the country, as far away as California, coming in to help us net bats. And so that much manpower in a small geographic area generates hopefully a lot of occurrences for bats, especially in this area where it's undersurveyed for bats. And so we'll be able to put a lot of dots on the map, and hopefully many of those dots are rare, threatened, and endangered species to aid conservation efforts.
That's still
The primary goal of this event, this Bat Blitz, is to come down and study the bats of this area. But I feel very strongly that, and we insist that every Bat Blitz has a community aspect. And so we're here to talk to the folks tonight so that we can, kind of enlighten them a little bit about bats and the importance of those in the environment. So here's the wingspan on that big brown bat. Okay. And so this is one of the big ones. Education is super important for the public to understand white nose, and I would agree that vast majority of the public don't quite get it. You can start to throw numbers at them, and when you 98% declines, and they start to understand that, but most people don't really grasp the magnitude of the situation until they've at least heard about it 2 or 3 times, or maybe get to witness it firsthand.
We just put up a triple high mist net, triple because we have 3 tiers of nets here. This is a 9-meter.
Now, I look at that and I don't see anything.
That's what we want. If they see it, a lot of times they'll try to avoid it.
But they don't see like we see, do they?
Actually, their vision is probably just as good as most of ours. What?
Yes. Old wives' tale that bats, you're blind as a bat. They see better than people think.
Common misconception is that bats are blind. However, they have vision that is just as good as most people. So if you ever watch them at night flying up to the net and you have a light on it, they're very smart, very curious animals. You'll notice they'll come up, look at it, and a lot of times they'll fly away.
So you can't say blind as a bat?
No, can't say blind. Well, you can, but it doesn't have the same meaning once you realize that bats can see.
Yeah, I heard that now.
When we catch one, we're gonna rush over there, lower the net. We're gonna get it out, we're gonna bag it, and hopefully we'll have several, so we'll bag them. We'll come back over here and immediately start processing them. So what we'll do is we'll weigh them, we'll look and see if they're male or female, we'll see their reproductive status, we'll look for damage, white nose syndrome, just overall health of the bats. We'll take some standard measurements, forearm, things like that, and certain species we'll actually put a band on, so that way we can keep up the longevity of that species or those individuals, and we're gonna let them go. So we're going to collect as much data as we can on as many species as we can.
There's a lot of logistics that go into planning the surveys, and with 17 to 18 a night, that's over 3 nights. We're pushing 60 survey sites. We can't generate that in a summer as an agency by ourselves in this region. In the end, we want as many captures as possible, and really want as many captures of species that we're concerned with. So hopefully as the weather changes the next couple of days, we'll see an increase in captures and the numbers will look pretty good at the end.
Our next story is about boating safety classes.
The boat show usually starts kicking off. People start thinking about it and start looking for boating classes and where they might be. And as well as the people that teach them are starting to put on the classes and schedule them.
I just bought a bass boat. It was a 1989 Hydrosport, and I've been needing to get my boating license, so now that we had this, it just was a perfect opportunity.
If you're a Tennessee resident and you're born after January 1st, 1989, you must have the certification card on the boat with you. It's the only one that we recognize. Now, if you're a non-resident of Tennessee, and we determine that by where your permanent residence is, if you're visiting Tennessee from Kentucky or Virginia, you will have to have either your home state certification, if you're born after January 1st, 1989, or you have to get the Tennessee certification.
You can never be too safe. Having never owned a boat before, I want to know everything I can to prevent an accident on the waterway.
The class is not just limited if you're born after 89. A lot of people come to the classes that are born before 89 for different purposes. Sometimes they come with their children and they take it with them. If they do pass it, they can get certified as well, and it will save on their boat insurance. Most insurance companies recognize this, and they'll give them a little break on their insurance premium. In the springtime, when it starts warming up around spring break, a lot of classes will start to be scheduled, and they're all listed on our website by county. Some of them will require pre-registration, most of them don't. You can just show up. and you can register right there online. There's usually a link there that you can click on and put in your information. And you purchase your Type 600 exam permit. That's a $10 fee, and you take that to class with you. Generally, that's usually the only cost to the student. There are some people that charge for the classes, and if they do charge, it will be indicated on our website.
You know, the encountering of other boats and who has the right of way, and you know, because there aren't it's not like driving a car. It's going to be a totally different experience.
This is a basic boating safety class, and it's a good class for everybody.
Pure novices at the beginning.
Yeah.
Know more than I did. Feel a little bit more confident about getting out on the water and to be safe and not jeopardize anybody else or myself.
If you've never boated before, it's really, really good. If you've been boating all your life, you're going to learn something.
I passed the class.
We passed! We passed!
Let's finish off the episode today with a story about Laurel Hill Search and Rescue.
So this event we're at today for at least the National Guard is known as Tennessee Maneuvers 2018.
Tennessee National Guard contacted me back in February, and they said they wanted to use Laurel Hill as a site to do some of their Tennessee maneuvers. We went out a day or two ago, and we had an actual life size and weight dummy, and we hid it out in the search area.
We have a missing hiker. Our objective is we hope to find the hiker.
Back in the 1940s, there was a statewide exercise involving the military, the National Guard, active forces, reserve forces. It was decided that the state of Tennessee was a good comparison to Europe in terms of rolling hills and the wood lines and that sort of stuff. And they created this event called Tennessee Maneuvers, where they basically practiced before they went overseas to fight World War II. So General Haston and a couple other folks got together and said, you know what, we need to have a statewide effort where we practice not go to war necessarily, but protect the civilian population in terms of natural disasters and terrorist attacks and that sort of thing. So they birthed a vision for a new Tennessee Maneuvers.
This would come after we have done a safety, after wildlife officers have run in here, after we've taken horses in, we've taken dogs. We haven't found the individual, so we're going to just take people and try to 3 feet, 5 feet, whatever our distance, and just sweep this thing looking for any clues.
The people who are out here now are from 30th Troop Command, and we've got aviators, we've got artillery men and women, we've got medics, we've got a lot of different specialties represented. We knew what the aviators would do in a disaster. They would drop a hoist, they would pick people off of rooftops. But what do you do with an artillery unit during a natural disaster? And we just didn't have a good fit for that particular skill set. So I talked to Shane Petty and I talked to Dave Nakatima, the training officer at the time, and I said, could we train these folks to be search and rescue folks? Wilderness specifically. They've got cold weather gear, they've got wet weather gear, they've got vehicles to self-deploy, they've got communication assets, they've got GPS, they know how to move and communicate, they know how to follow a chain of command, whether that's an incident command or if that's a military command, it doesn't matter. The first exercise took place at South Cumberland State Recreational Area in 2016, and then in 2017 they were at Daniel Boone State Park, and now in 2018 we find ourselves here at Laurel Hill. So that's how this all got started.
I'm a FAR search team, so there's going to be three lines. So we're going to all carry up and over. Then when we get up here, we're just going to come right back down kind of opposite.
Tennessee State Parks has been asked to come in to help manage a search, which is a little bit what we do because of the numbers that we do it, and using the Army National Guard guys as just the ground pounders, as we say, the grid searchers, to look for clues or the subject that we're looking for.
There's a lot of timber down. We had a tornado come through the north end of the search area.
This is where you learn. You know, you can sit in classrooms all day long, but this is where you put boots on the ground. So we are actually exercising our search grids, our search abilities, all of our equipment, all our technology, all our abilities, and looking at all resources that every city and county has got and what we can throw at this to be able to better find our person in a more efficient time manner.
So Team 1's going to get over on the creek, and Team 10's going to get on this corner. We're going to walk through the woods in this direction until we hit the road. And if we don't find anything, then we're going to flop on the other side of the creek and walk back this direction.
And it is a man-to-man, arm-to-arm, systematically coverage that we want to try to walk the area. Plus, we also have GPS units on every team that's in there, and then we're getting live feeds exactly where the teams are. And at the end of the day, we will download that information from those GPS units, and we can look at and see where our holes are. Where did we miss? Did we miss a certain drainage area that we may have to go back and look tonight or tomorrow?
I think the 30th Troop Command and 1st of the 181 has committed to do at least one exercise a year, keeping in mind that these folks also have to practice their go-to-war mission, which is firing rockets and artillery in support of troops in contact. So that's always going to be the first priority. But where time is available, we think it makes sense because they're exercising skills that help them in combat as well.
Communication's always a major factor. I mean, it's hard enough to communicate within your own department, but then you get multiple agencies and departments in, and everybody's using their own lingo, their own language, their own radios, you know, their own maps. All that stuff helps us to realize where our downfalls may be, and it helps maybe in a real-life situation next time for us to improve.
There's not a single exercise we go to where we don't learn a whole laundry list of things. Something's broken, needs to be repaired. We could do something a little bit better. As we work with the other agencies out here, we see how they do things. Hopefully they see something we do that they like too, and we learn from each other. So, great opportunity. Training is always a great environment to learn from.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Tennessee Outdoor Journal. We'll see you next time. Tennessee Outdoor Journal is produced by your Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Tell me who will carry on this work that we've begun, care enough to be.
Hi, I'm Tracy Lawrence, just letting you know that the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency supports itself and manages all of the state's wildlife with the dollars invested by hunters and fishermen when they buy licenses. If you've never bought a license, but appreciate the abundant wildlife we enjoy in this state, I encourage you to do it. Start with the Type 01. It's a great investment in Tennessee wildlife. Learn more at tnwildlife.org.
Buy your license today at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Daniels. When I was a kid, I loved baseball and football and all kind of stuff, but my favorite pastime was when my daddy would get me up early in the morning, we'd go hunting or fishing. Out in the fresh air on the water or back in the woods, and you learn a lot. You got kids, take them hunting, take them fishing. Join me. Buy a hunting or fishing license. Let's keep wildlife in Tennessee. That's a doggone good thing.
Buy your license today at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.